board, but we know who's the king. Beaterbot, Cold, and Ritual, we just tuned in. 6 eliminations. That one's gotta feel to the global stage, kind of that back and forth that happens between those two trios. That one's got to feel good, but I can't lie, Taco, right? Ritual with 4 eliminations himself, showing what a year's worth of mechanical training can really do on the big stage.
We all witnessed the Richie 1v3s throughout the divisional cups, Vivid, and even in the majors, Ritual was putting up quite a stellar performance, but now things are going to fall directly into the line of sight here for PH, Zen, Phaser, and King. They've already spotted out 2 other teams based on mountains right next to us. These next couple of rotates could be rather difficult, but Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, they're still looking to press forward. They're actually trying to do it from underneath. They're hoping that they can just collect whatever leftover hard mats they can find.
With a sold-out crowd, you know they're going for M8, you know they're going for Havoc, so everybody at home, watching on Twitch, watching online, you need to give your energy to NA if you want to see a miracle comeback, because 2nd, 3rd, 4th place, all of them down. 5th place, that's Kanata, Rapid, and Bolts, and a chance to close the gap. Especially more so if they can figure out a way to take down Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstash, but we're now into the top 17. This is where placement points are gonna come into play, and they're gonna start moving quickly.
Vivid, how do you feel seeing this rotation by Savage? Reason and Chap, it looked relatively healthy, but they're not the only ones. Other teams in EU definitely making their presence known.
Yeah, the chase is on right now for a couple of our teams, namely Malibuca, Walks, and Ping. The aggression early, they want to go ahead and catch up to Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts, right? That's the only team that is currently alive that is ahead of them right now. And as I say, that pressure starts to rain in.
Why does this look like one of the practice lobbies right now, though? Down to our last 17 teams and only 6 zone. Ping, Walks, Malibuca, they're trying to see if they can bring down Agers and Acorn with it. Pollo's already been claimed. Acorn, Agers just trying to create a little bit of space, but they know this might be a fight that they can't avoid any longer. They're gonna have to try and take a crash pad out of here, but Malibuca, Walks, and Ping, they are fully wary of what lies ahead.
Yeah, and you can see in the mini-map, Acorn, Agers, they immediately rotated out with or without the reboot card. A couple more teams rotating in and around this path for Pings, Walks, and Malibuca. Could be opportunities for elims or more damage, but they see that coming. They want to continue to rotate in. Right next to them, Queasy, Merstash, Swizzy, all trying to get this elevation differential for this next zone.
But just above them on the other side of this mountain face, Kanata, Rapid, Bolts, they see the crash pad. Merstash, he's been clipped. Merstash is brought down. Swizzy also incredibly low. They're going to be forced to drop all the way down. That height security that they were once hoping for has been completely lost here. Queasy, the healthiest member of his team, but he's got nobody next to him. He can't get close to Swizzy.
And that's that investment. What goes around comes around. If you want to sit in storm and fight between 1st and 2nd place, you want that one to be drawn out. You want to invest everything you have into it. Once you realize that you got to make one of these rotations all the way up the mountain, all of these aimers kind of paying attention to you, you realize quickly you don't have what it takes to survive in this lobby.
Oh my, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I talked about them being out. And now 5th place has just lost their IGL and Rapid, and it's Queasy and Swizzy that are doing the majority of that damage as they try to make their way into the zone.
But Queasy can't get down. He has no mats. They were all on Swizzy and Merstash. They hadn't had a chance to actually drop any of their materials. He does see a crash pad. He's trying to bring Swizzy up with him. And now Swizzy manages to connect. What a brilliant play from Queasy. Most players would have probably taken that for themselves, but he said, nah, you're coming back up here with me.
That's just a shine. That's just a glimpse. That is 7,000 IQ and the selfless plays and why we call him one of the greatest IGL. No, forget that. That's why we call him one of the greatest Fortnite players in the history of the game. And he's looking to prove it. If he could just close out these last 2 games, even with the loss of our stats, there's still 1,100 damage above the threshold as they land a couple more shots. Now 1,200 and continuously rolling.
But this is a really healthy trio. Cooper, Curly, Reed. I don't know that that's what Queasy's really looking to chase up. He's not trying to bark up the wrong tree here after all. They've be a little bit more reserved here, Vivid. They don't want to overextend their welcome.
I mean, they're in the mix of things right now. They've gotten a couple of shots on a couple of trios right there. Maybe they can make something happen. As I say, that Queasy actually gets knocked. Now it's going to be all left to Swizzy. Swizzy gets knocked down. First, second, third, fourth, all out of the competition.
They at least had some eliminations to go with it, but will it really be enough? The leaderboard will have to wait and tell a different story here. Malibuca, Wox, and Ping, though, fighting a battle of their own. They're now looking to see if they can overthrow the high ground. I drop Cammy, Hottie. They've been a little bit tagged up here, but it's Ping who eats the greater bulk of his shields there. Malibuca, Wox, now having to head towards the forefront. They're looking back. They're trying to provide some support. They have a slight placement on this side of the mountain, and they are looking down, and guess who's underneath them? Peterbot, Cold, Ritual, Mr. Savage, Chapman, Reason, so many teams crashing onto this mountain face.
A good chunk of the top 10 overall back into the lobby. Even our 5th place team on that leaderboard missing a player, and one of the more important ones into Rapid as FaZe, PHN, King. They know they're not in zone just yet. In fact, they might have one of the farthest pulls in the entirety of the lobby with Aspect, Tinka, Kazi in their path. They want to continue to roll through. Even with the med kits, even with the minis, they realize they are lacking materials and a ton of them.
Paying attention to the leaderboard of the last Global Championship. No minor region teams in the top 10. King, FaZe, PHN, they're trying to make that push right now. When you want to talk about a push, Taco, Bolts towards the bottom of the mountain. No mats to work with. Top 5 as it currently stands. The push is on.
What a genius, though. Bolts recognizing that the zone's going to pull over this Big Ben tunnel face. He's going to take a little bit of a harbor safety inside. But King, he's got literally 1 HP and a dream. The small shield potion, he's managed to get it off. But FaZe, only 2 builds remain. He can't keep continuing to hold that leverage over King's head. Instead, FaZe holding on for dear life, but he needs the heal. He won't get the chance. He's gonna be eaten alive by the lobby.
Oh, he props the crash pad, but instead he goes straight up and back to the lobby with that elimination. That one's gonna hurt, but a lot of those rank ups coming in, and that's an A rank upgrade. That could be fruitful for Bolts underneath, who has to start to think, who has to start to act quick because he has only 8 builds, no heals in his loadout, and no mobility on top of that as we're going high up the mountain.
Bolts doesn't even get a chance really to try stop and check. He's just making sure that he stays concealed towards that backside of zone. But on the high ground, Palad, Kiro, FKS, they've actually managed to overtake one of the best positions that we've seen them in all weekend long.
Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, they don't want to walk away from this competition without at least putting some sort of a staple into it. They want to show everybody that, hey, listen, we had a tough time off spawn, but when we make it to the end game, we can put on a show.
Yeah, Bolts just went down off the side of that mountain. Their run in this game has come to an end. Did they get enough to move into the top 4? But Peterbot now battling for it all, and he is by himself. Cold and Ritual are all down below, and he's done it. He's gotten the high ground. He's gotten an elimination. Here he is. He's finally woken up from his slumber, and he's continuing to pressure down and stealing the high ground away. He joins Ritual and Cold on the other side and takes what's theirs.
Yesterday, Peterbot said, it's my day, y'all, but today, it's a whole new beast coming alive here in the final hour. FKS gonna be taken out by Ritual. Aspect as well, claiming that series of eliminations, but Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual, they're now kings of the mountain face, and they might be kings of this lobby if everyone else isn't careful.
There's still more than half of the placement points still available in this lobby, and I think Reason knows it. That's why he's moving to the outside of the zone. He saw 3 different med kits, a replenished amount of materials, and this could be the difference maker in terms of point differential as that leaderboard goes down below. Malibuca, he's struggling all around, rejoins his team. The splashes are coming out, but they're in the backside of the zone. They're sacrificing HP to try to catch any team off guard.
It's because of the way that the zone is pulled over this slight bridge of elevation, though. Malibuca, Ping, they don't have a whole lot of builds. Malibuca is going to be forced to try and play heals, try and acquire whatever placement points are possible. The siphon materials going to give him a little bit of extra time and the 2 med kits, but still, he has to make his way forward, and he's going to have to crash directly into Reed, Cooper, and Curly. But the moment they head down, they're taken out by Peterbot.
Reed just getting targeted from up above. He loses all of his materials, has no other choice, but another team contests towards the high ground. Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot, they're forced scrambling around, figuring out a way to reunite. The Flowberry Fizz does come out. That's Kisco, that's Striker, that's Kadu. They've taken down NA's best, but it's only for so long. Revenge comes in, and it comes in quick. Cold gets it down onto one. No Siphon just yet. He needs to buy time. No extra builds, and he's facing Reason on the other side. But high ground disrupts the foe. Down they go. 3v3 here for the end game. Kami, Hadi, that's relatively loose because Eyedrop is down. Kadu, Striker, and Tisco, they could take it all.
And this is what the international scene has needed all weekend long. But no, Kami, Hadi, Kami's not going to be able to make it through. It's only Tisco, Striker, and Kadu left to deal with Hadi. But Hadi, he'll be forced to charge forward. He tries to head towards the high ground, but he just doesn't have the HP. Tisco just needs one more shot, and he finds it. That's going to be the first victory royale here this weekend for an international scene.
The Brazilian region is on top. They've showed up. They've reached the top 10 in the leaderboard with a whole nother trio, and this is their chance to shine bright. Frankie, we need to know what they're thinking.
We do, and I'm running over right now. This is the most